Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to continue factoring trinomials, guys, but what we're going to do is we're going to factor trinomials that are in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Notice that in this particular case, the a, the coefficient of x squared, will be larger than 1. If it's not greater than 1, if it's equal to 1, then you have the form of x squared plus bx plus c, and that's the method we learned yesterday, okay? But sometimes you're going to have trinomials where you have a coefficient of x squared that is larger than 1. When this occurs, there are two methods that I have worked with and learned, and I really like to use. There's two methods. I'm going to show you both methods. It is up to you to decide which method you like best. I am not here to tell you you have to do it one way or the other. I'm here to teach you a couple different strategies, and I want you to keep one of those strategies, practice it, hone it, perfect it, and use that always for the rest of your life. Choose one, and I don't care which one, my brothers. The first method we're going to learn, okay, is called, believe it or not, this is the Cuban Method. Okay? It is a Cuban method because, literally, that's the way they teach it in Cuba. So, we're going to check this Cuban method out. It's pretty awesome. Very similar to what we did yesterday. Let's do it. We want to factor 6x squared plus 23x plus 7. Step 1 in the procedure, just like before, it's the setup. Remember how last time in the setup, you would just divide that exponent by 2 and then put the x in the x? Well, this time, if you notice, guys, you're going to keep the same a. You're going to do the same thing to the exponent, divide that sucker by 2, but you're going to keep the a on both setups. So you're going to have 6x times 6x with the blank on both. Does that make sense so far? My setup for here, it's 6x and 6x because whatever the a is, I attach that to both little binomials that I'm creating. Does that make sense so far, gentlemen? Okay. Remember, if I had just for giggles 6 to the 8th, that'd be 6x to the 4, 6x to the 4, right? Okay. So, step 2. Multiply the a times the c to find a new c. Multiply the a, which in this case is 6, times the c, which in this case is 7, to find a new c, which in this case would be 42. A times c will equal the new c. And in this case, the new c is 42. I take the a, I multiply it by the c, and I find a new c. Is everyone with me so far, gentlemen? Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. The reason for this, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, this is part of the Cuban method. I'm going to show you how this all comes together right now. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. This is the procedure, guys. This is a trick. A lot of teachers don't like this because they don't know it. And when we don't know something, we fear it. Don't fear this. Trust me. This all works every time. Step 3, may I? What number times what number, just like the other one, what number times what other number equals the new c? That's why we found the new c, Bubble. The new c, but when added together, equals the b. So guys, what times what equals 42, but when added together is 23? Because again, it's what number times what other number equals the new c. The new c is 42. So what times what equals 42, but when added together is 23. 6 and 7, 6 plus 7 is 13. How about, good job. 21 and 2 is exactly right. 21 times 2 is 42. 21 plus 2 is 23. Please make sure you understand this. Please ask me any questions. We're going step by step. Does that make sense so far, gentlemen? Okay, now we're going to wrap it up really quickly. Step 4, just like yesterday, plug in answers into the setup. So I have 6x plus 21 and 6x plus 2. You with me, gents? Okay. Ready for the last step? Okay. Please pay attention. Stop writing. Just pay attention for 1 second. We know that when we factor out a GCF, we got to put that number on the outside. For example, if I've got 5x plus 10 and I factor out a GCF, I pull that GCF on the outside and I got to leave it there, right? Okay. Today, for this trick, we are going to use what's called imaginary factoring. It's imaginary because what can I divide out of 6 and 21? What can I divide out of 6 and 2? Okay, a 2. Normally, I would have to pull this 3 outside and this 2 outside, correct? Not here. Here, it's just a simple division. So when I divide the 3 to 6x plus 21, and I divide the 2 to 6x plus 2, I get 2x plus 7 and 3x plus 1. I do not pull out and show my GCF. That is why it's called imaginary factoring. It's just dividing, really, is what you're doing. But it's imaginary because you're not doing it to both sides, and you're not showing the reader, hey, I pulled out this 3, and then I factored out this 2. That's why it's imaginary. Yes? It depends. Some people like this method. Some people like the next method. I love this method. I think it's ridiculously easy. Let's go from the beginning again. First off, my setup. So I go 6x and 6x. Then I go a times c. A times c is 42, which is the new c. What times what is the new c, but when added together is the b, 21 and 2. I plugged in those answers into my setup, so I have 6x plus 21 and 6x plus 2. Now I imaginary factored from each binomial, and I have my answer 2x plus 7 times 3x plus 1. That is the Cuban method. Sir? What goes into 6x and 21? 3. Like I said, guys, you got to know your factors and your multiplication tables. If not, this gets very difficult. Thank you, son. Any other questions on this method? All right, let's do the next method. The next method is the column method. I like this method as well. But I never use it unless it's really large numbers. The column method I really like to use when it's really large numbers. But if it's not really, really large numbers, I personally use the Cuban method. But who cares what I do? I need you guys to be comfortable with one of these. Step 1, draw 2 columns and list 2 factors for both A and C. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 columns, and I'm going to find the factors of 6x squared. 2 possible factors of 6x squared is 3x and 2x. Then I'm going to find the possible factors of 7. The possible factors of 7 are 1 and 7. That's step 1. Does that make sense? So step 1, draw 2 columns, get the factors of 6x squared and the factors of 7. Remember, I just chose 3x and 2x. I could have chosen x and 1x. You have to test different values in this method. Step 2, cross multiply the factors. So 3x times 7 is 21x, and 2x times 1 is 2x. So I go ahead and I multiply the factors. Once I have multiplied the factors, I'm going to add the products. Add the products. And if the sum is equal to the original bx value, you are done. If not, try new combinations of factors and or signs until you find the sum of the factors equal to the bx value. That's why I don't like this one that much, because sometimes if you don't make your first guess correctly, you got to redo it until you find it. So step 3 here, when I go ahead and add 2x plus 21x, don't I get 23x? Hello, guys? And isn't 23x what I'm looking for, because that's the original bx? Okay, so I'm done. Step 4, write the factors as written on the table. Don't I have 3x plus 1 and 2x plus 7? Done. So that's the method. I don't care which one you choose, but just out of curiosity, which one do you like better? Okay, most people like the Cuban method more. Yes, sir. On the test or quiz, I already have said, son, I don't care which method you use. My goal as a teacher is not for you to do things exactly the way I do them. It's for you to understand and choose your own method if you have multiple methods. Sometimes there's no choice, Papa, but in this case, there is a choice. Me, I choose the Cuban method 99% of the time. Does that make sense, guys? Sir. I'm going to show you all sorts of examples now. We good? Okay. Because I gotta do some examples now, boys. Let me know. Sir. The PDF is already up, sir, and of course my videos, I do my best to post them every day, sir. Thank you. All right. Let's do some examples now. All right. Let's do this. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. You guys said Cuban, so let's do some Cuban method. So I'm going to go 3x and 3x, right? Now, what's my second step? A times c. So what's my new c? 6. What times what is 6, but when I add together is 5? Positive 3 and positive 2. Can I divide something out of this first binomial? A 3, which I'll have an x plus 1 left. And can I divide anything from this 3x plus 2? Done. You just factored something that takes most people a very long time. Does that make sense, guys? Talk to me. Talk to me. Now, I'm not going to do this for all of them. I'm going to do most of these with Cuban, but I'll do a couple both ways, just to be fair. Okay, so I'd make my little column. What are the factors of 3x squared? Well, 3x and 1x. 1 and 3 just give you 3, not 3x squared. What are the factors of 2 and 1? 2 and 1. Okay, let's see if this works. Cross multiply. 2 times 1x is 2x. 3 times 1x is 3x. What's 3x plus 2x? 5x. Does that work? Yes. So my answer is 3x plus 2 times x plus 1. I don't care which method you use, my brothers, as long as you understand and like one of them. Still, after doing this, do you like this or the Cuban method better? Okay, some people like this one, some people like the Cuban. Does that make sense, guys? All right. Let's see. If I can and I have time, I'll try to do both for all of them. All right, let's do this one. Cuban method first. 8x and 8x. Next step, A times C. Very good. My new C is 120. What times what is 120, but when added together is 22? 12 and 10. Positive 12, positive 10. Can I factor anything out of here? A 4. Can I factor anything out of here? A 2. So I'm going to have 2x plus 3 and 4x. Let me make that neater. 4x plus 5. Do I have to put the 4 and the 2 that I pulled out? Why? It's imaginary factoring. Very good. So, my Cuban method, people, does that make sense? Sir? I didn't pull out the 120. 8 times 15 is 120. What times what is 120, but when added together is 22? Okay? Let's just do it the column method real quickly, just so you can see. This is where it gets a little bit trickier, and I'll show you. Okay, give me some factors of 8x squared. Okay, 4x and 2x. And what are the factors of 15? Okay, let's do actually, let's do it this way, so you can see what happens when you don't do it right. 3 and 5. That's going to be 6x, and that's going to be 20x. Wait a second. Does 6x plus 20x equal 22? So what does that mean you have to do? Erase it, and this time, let's flip them. Put 5 here and 3 here. That's going to be 12x. That's going to be 10x. Now I have 22x. So my answer would be 4x plus 5 times 2x plus 3. That's why this method is good, but not as awesome in my opinion, because sometimes you have to switch around. And you have to redo it until you find the right combo. It takes more time in my opinion. Okay? May I move on, gentlemen? Okay. So what do you think, Cuban or column? Okay, I'm hearing more Cuban on that side. Okay. Look, check it out, guys. I got 6x and 6x. Multiply A times C. My new C is 30. What times what is 30, but when added together is 13? Positive 10, positive 3. Can I factor anything out of here? A 2. So I got 3x plus 5. Can I factor anything out of here? So I got 2x plus 1. Let's be honest, guys. That's pretty simple. It's a lot less time consuming than the column method. Now, you want to do the column method? Awesome. Ignore this. Do it on your own in the column method. Just make sure that you got the right answer, please. Okay? Let's do the next one. Example 4, please. I've got 3x and 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. That's my new C. What times what is 15, but when added together is 16? 15 and 1. Oh, yeah. I can factor something out of here. And nothing on the other side. Very good. So I got x plus 5 times 3x plus 1. Does that make sense, boys? And just so you know, just for giggles, just so you understand how powerful this is, what they want you to do in the book, don't write this down, but they want you to do this. All the possibles for this. So you go 2x and x, or x and 2x. Then all the possibles for this, and this is easy because they have very little factors. So you'd go 7 and 1, and then 1 and 7, and then you'd have to go x and 7, and then 2x and 1. Actually, yeah, this way. Yeah, like that. Then you'd have to multiply each of these and see which one gave you the original answer. Now that's a mission. So Just so you know, I am saving you guys time here. So let's do it. Cuban method. 2x and 2x. 2a times c. My new c is negative 14. What times what is negative 14, but when added together is negative 13? Negative 14 and positive 1. I can factor from here a excellent x minus 7 times 2x plus 1. Just for giggles, since we're wrapping up and I'm going to go do some more, let's just do it the column method just for giggles. Okay? I want to make sure that the column people out there are getting trained fairly as well. So 2x and x, because those are the factors of 2x squared. How about for negative 7? Okay, negative 7 and 1. Let's just, for giggles, let's say that you put negative 1 and 7. I want to show you what happens when you don't get them the first time. You got 2x times 7, which is 14. Oh no, this is great. 14x, and then 2x minus x minus times a negative 1 is negative x. Guys, is 14x minus x negative 13x? No. So what does that mean? What do you think you have to do? Okay, you could flip them, but that's not the answer. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Relax. This is 7x minus 2x. That does not equal negative 13x either. So what do I got to do? Go back to the original one and put a negative on the 7. Then that's going to be negative 14x plus x, which is negative 13x. There you go. It works. So I got 2x plus 1 times x minus 7. That's the column method as opposed to nice and easy Cuban method. Do you see what I'm saying here, guys? I just didn't want to limit you to just one method. I wanted to give you an opportunity to examine both. But I think everyone is starting to see the power of the Cuban method. How about here? 4x and 4x. Good job. Let's find my new c, which is negative 12. Whoever said 6, please be careful, because 4 times 3 is not 6. What times what is negative 12, but when added together is positive 4? Positive 6 and negative 2. Very good. I can divide that by, and I can divide that by, so I get 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 1. Done. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, remember yesterday, guys, how we factored stuff, but before we factored it, we always check to make sure that we factored out the GCF first? Okay. When we factor out a GCF proper, not in the Cuban method, but when we factor out a GCF proper, I have to put that GCF on the outside, right? Okay, and I got to keep it there the whole time. So, for example, number 1, what can I factor out of, can I factor a GCF out? A 2. So I'm going to factor a 2 out, which I must keep. This is not imaginary factoring. So now I have 2x squared minus x minus 3. Is everyone with me so far?
Yes.
Now, step 2. Let's Cuban method this bad boy. I got 2x and 2x. My new c is going to be a negative 6. Come on, man. Negative 6. What times what is negative 6, but when added together is negative 1? Negative 3, positive 2. You could divide that by a 2. So my final answer will be the 2, which is the GCF I factored out, times 2x minus 3 times x plus 1. This is my imaginary factor. This is my imaginary factor. This GCF stayed the whole time. Sir?
Do we have to do it that way, like factor out numbers?
Of course, you have to factor out a GCF always.
No, but like, or can we do it the way that we just did before that?
If you do the column method,
No. Like, do we have to put the number outside?
this, yeah, because you factored out GCF.
No, I know, but on this part right here, you just divided it. Like,
Okay, guys, this, I factored this part out. That's a GCF that I factored out. This is the Cuban method imaginary factoring. This 2 is not this 2.
Oh,
This 2 comes from dividing all of this by 2.
oh, that's right. All right.
You with me?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yes,
Thank you. Example 2. What can I factor out of it? 3. This is a real factoring. So I gotta pull that 3 out and keep it out. So I got x squared minus 10x minus 3. Does everyone see what I just did there? I factor out a GCF first, which is valid. You must do it properly. Now, Cuban method. 8x, 8x. A times c, my new c is negative 24. Good. What times what is negative 24? But when I add it together is negative 10. Nice. Negative 12 and positive 2. Awesome, dude. I can artificial factor a 4. Do I pull that 4 out? No. That's my artificial factor. And I could pull out of here a 2. Do I pull that 2 out? No. That's my artificial factor. So I got 3, which is my GCF, times 2x minus 3, times 4x plus 1. Ding dong, the witch is gone. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Promise? Promise?
Yes, I do that.
Okay. Let's continue, please. Can I factor anything out of this example 3? Heck yeah, 5. So now I'm left with 5x squared minus 2x minus 3. Let's Cuban method. Let's factor this bad boy. 5 times negative 3, what's my new c? Negative 15. What times what is negative 15, but when added together is negative 2? Negative 5, positive 3. I can factor out a 5 from there. Do I pull that 5 out? That's artificial factor. It's imaginary factor. So I got 5 times x minus 1 times 5x plus 3. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
You promise. Okay. 10x squared minus 4x minus 14. What can I factor out of that bad boy? A 2. So I'm going to have 5x squared minus 2x minus 7. Let's go ahead and factor this bad boy. 5 times negative 7. My new c would be negative 35. What times what is negative 35? But when added together is negative 2. Good. Negative 7 and positive 5. I can factor a 5 from there. Do I pull this 5 out? No, that's artificial factor. That's imaginary factor. So I got 2 times 5x minus 7 times x plus 1. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, I've got about a minute and a half, so I'm not going to super fly, but I'm going to go pretty fast, okay? So please try to keep up with me. I'm not even going to ask you questions. I'm just going to provide everything. I'm going to first pull out a GCF of 11, which I'm going to be left with x squared plus 7x plus 6. Now in this case, look at what I have. It's beautiful. Do I even have to do Cuban method in this case? No. It's an x and an x. So I'm done. What times what is 6? When added together is 7. Plus 6 plus 1. See? I threw a curveball at you there. You thought it was going to be a Cuban method, but when you factored it out, you noticed that it's not. Last but not least, I can factor from here, guys, a 6. Give me x. No, I can't. 2. Okay, so I got 3x squared plus 13x. Thank you. Plus 12. Darn it. Real quick. Real quick. 3x. 3x. 3 times 12 is 36. What times what is 36? When added together is 13. That's going to be 9 and 4. Factor out of 3. I got 2x plus 3. I can't factor anything out of 3x plus 4. So I'm left with 3x plus 4. And that is my answer. Homework is valid. May God bless you. Thank you for a great class. Hasta la vista. Goodbye.